Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the first cut analysis of the CAT exam. We have people on ground to give us live inputs about the CAT exam. And before we join them, we are going to give you a snapshot of how the CAT was in this morning. So let's quickly run through what we have in store. The biggest surprise, let me tell you folks, the biggest surprise is that there has been not many surprises in this CAT because the number of questions remained at 68. 68 was the questions last year. Last year, CAT threw a googly at students when it increased the number of questions from 66 to 68. But this year, the number of questions came down or remained at 68, right? So that's the biggest surprise. In fact, I would say a biggest relief, a very big relief for students who would have kind of try to do multiple variations, think of whatever number, multiple combinations that the CAT would throw at them, but CAT kind of kept it simple. So that's the biggest news coming in. So in this session, we will talk about each of the sessions in the CAT and how they were, the detailed distribution in terms of different question types, how difficult they were, how easy they were, how doable they were, right? So, and we'll also go live with faculty on ground, right? So while we do that, let's start off with the analysis. So we have Rahul, who's the head of our quant team on ground at the CAT Center in Hyderabad, obviously, right? And he will be giving us inputs about how the CAT was. So let's quickly, Rahul, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi Ramnath. Good morning. What a day it was. It was a year in making.
All right. So I think you may have some issue hearing him. Rahul, can you give us a thumbs up if you can hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes. All right. So Rahul, let's confirm that he can hear us. So let's go live quickly. Rahul, before I come to you, let me tell you, please tell us how the test taking experience was and if there have been any surprises. And just for your information, I've already told the audience that there have been not many surprises this year. So please, in your
That's
words,
right, quite
please
right.
tell us about these two,
So,
about the experience and surprises.
the test taking experience has been reasonably smooth, well maintained. I understand TCS has been doing it for a lot of years, so they seem to have perfected it.
Like
Right.
there are some issues
However, in some
in hearing
centers,
you. So
they have not been
we will
allowing even the.
go ahead. We'll go ahead with the information that you have provided us already. So with that, folks, let's continue to understand, to make a deep dive into the pattern summary, right? We have had, as I've already told you, no surprises. So quant remains at 22, DLR is at 22, and English at 16 RC questions and 8 verbal ability questions. That's a quick summary of the pattern. And all of you know that each section is for 40 minutes. I won't dwell on that. And now look at a further section-wise detail analysis, right? Here we have in the verbal section, we have 4 RC passages. Again, no surprises there. 4 questions per passage. And the news that we have received is that these passages are, in terms of difficulty level, the overall difficulty level is fairly comparable to what we have been seeing in the CATs, and more so with the CAT that we have seen last year in CAT 24. And in verbal ability, there is a bit of a surprise, because when I told you that there have been no big surprises, it also means that there is one small surprise. And what is the small surprise? PFQs. In verbal ability, the paraformation questions, or parajumbles as people also call them, have made a reappearance. Now, last year, there were no paraformation questions, right? 3, 3, and 2 was the distribution amongst the other 3 question types last year. But this year, the distribution is 2, 2, 2, 2. Equal distribution for each of the 4 question types. Paraformation questions made a comeback this year. And the other surprise, again a minor one, is in the odd one out. Now, this surprise is a very crucial one. Why? Because this pertains to the way the odd one out question has been asked. In one of the odd one, there were 2 odd one out questions, and all of you know that students need to remove or pick the one sentence which does not fit in the paragraph, right? And this task has been asked, students have been tested in 2 ways on this task. How? In one of the questions, students were to mark what is that odd statement. So if it is statement 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, they were expected to input that particular number only. That is for one question. But in the other question, students were told to give the correct order of the sentence of the passage after removing the odd one, right? So which means the task remains the same, but the input needs to be different. So if you let's say if you are in slot 2 or slot 3, and if you kind of look at this question and input just the odd one, the statement, the number of the statement, which is the odd one, you're going to lose out, even if you kind of identified it correctly. So be very, very careful and ensure to read the instructions properly and mark the answer properly. This is very, very important, folks, which is why we have put a star there on the odd one out, right? Next. And as I was saying, the difficulty levels were similar to last year. There was one tough to read passage, right? We will get into more details on what is that passage which was tough, why was it tough, and all that when we do the detailed analysis. We'll not spend too much time here. And the other passages were moderate. The verbal ability questions were also moderate. Overall, as I already mentioned, the difficulty level was very comparable to that of the last year. And this is pertaining to morning slot only, folks. The other analysis about the other slots will follow subsequently during the day. Right now, let's move on to the second section, which is DLR. DLR again, there were 22 questions, 2 sets with 5 questions each, and 3 sets with 4 questions each. And as you can see, the question type here and the area here, they were fairly, I mean, one can always kind of debate if one pertains to LR or DI, because the line is kind of not so easy to draw between them. There were quant-based reasoning. Some of us may call it DI. So there were 2 quant-based reasoning questions, one on train tickets, another on free tapping. There was a seating arrangement question. There was a bar chart, a spider bar chart, right? And a radar bar, radar plus bar, which is what was there. And there was a distribution puzzle, right? So overall, adding up to 10 plus 12, 2 into 5 is 10, plus 3, 4 is 12, 22 questions. Out of these 5, if you look at the difficulty levels, the spider plus bar was the definite easy one. Meaning, if you saw this set, you should have attempted this in the exam without fail. Actually, if I change my statement a bit, you should have seen this set and you should have attempted it, right? That is how easy, definitely easy this set was. You shouldn't be missing out on doing this set, right? So who did not do this set, those who did not do this set would be in trouble of not getting a decent score, right? And those who would have done this along with 1 or 2 of the others would obviously be scoring very high in this section. All the other sets were moderate to difficult, as you can see. So obviously students were expected to pick that one particular set from this, and out of the remaining 4, in addition to the spider bar, at least 2 sets is what would get you a healthy score, and anything more than that obviously would enhance your overall percentile in this section. So let's now move to the quant section. So in the quant section, this is the distribution again, 22 questions in total, right? Arithmetic took the cake. We will, when we do our detailed analysis, we'll give you a topic by topic breakup of how many questions from time and distance, how many questions from let's say mensuration, how many questions from geometry. We'll be drawing fine lines to separate each of the topics so that you understand the animal called cat in the quant section a lot better, right? And because this is the first cut analysis, we are trying to keep it as brief as possible before we move on. So next, as you can see, numbers continues to be underrepresented. Once upon a time, they were like cases where 4 to 5 questions or more used to come from numbers. But off late in the recent years, the representation for numbers has come down and looks like it is continuing this year also, at least in the morning slot. So 1 question each from numbers in pure maths, 9 questions from arithmetic, 8 questions from algebra, and 3 questions from geometry. That is the distribution, folks. And if we look at the difficulty levels, overall, not so lengthy and doable, and more importantly, very, very comparable to the difficulty level that we have seen in CAT 24. Right now, why is this important? It's important because CAT 23 threw a big surprise for students in terms of the quant difficulty level. The difficulty level shot up, the scores kind of fell, which kind of has gotten taken care of in the last year's CAT. The difficulty level kind of remained well within control of the students, and that seems to have continued this year also. I mean, I said seems to have because this information only from the first slot, information from the other 2 slots is yet to trickle in, right? Now, the thing is that not only does it look like very comparable to last year, it could be a shade easier also overall. And whether this is actually completely true or not is something that we will establish during the day. Do tune into our detailed analysis sessions and cutoff sessions that we have coming up and lined up during the day for you, right? So quick summary in terms of what next, what is it, what all do we have lined up for you during the day. We have the percentile estimator. For those of you particularly who have taken the exam in the morning slot, make sure that you use the percentile estimator tool. Now, why is this important? How will this tool help you? Is because you will immediately today be able to get an estimated percentile of your CAT with you inputting your number of attempts and your expected accuracy, right? Your expected accuracy, yes, it could be a bit hazy here and there, but you could at least get overall. Let's say if you think you would have attempted out of 68 questions, you would have attempted some 40 questions, and you expect to get some 30 questions right, let's say, or 25 questions right. You input those numbers in, and we'll be able to provide you with an estimated percentile range, which will help you overall. Which, instead of waiting till, let's say, the response sheets are out or till the CAT results are out, you'll be able to right now, today, be able to get an estimate of what the expected percentile of yours is going to be, right? So that's all we have now in this analysis for you folks. So immediately after this video, please stay tuned, because we are going to give you strategy inputs from the first session. As I said, while there were no big surprises, there were some minor surprises. So our senior faculty, and I am Indore alumnus, will take you through how is it that these surprises are to be tackled, given the preparation that you have input so far, and given that the news that has been trickling in about Morningstar. All right. So stay tuned, folks, and all the best. How's that? I have emailed you the PPT. James, PPT आ गया तुमको.